Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Ryan.
I'm Brian.
If that gets confusing, Brian has brown hair,
Ryan has red hair.
so hopefully that clears things up.
That's over with. Well, we're going to talk about what it's been like about a month and a half into YouTube.
Feels like a lot longer than a month and a half.
Yeah. With not a whole lot of tangible, well, I guess none of it's tangible, but not a whole lot of things that you can grasp and be like, look what we've done.
Mm-hmm.
So majority of the things that we're going to do is focus on what's going on the back end, because I feel like no one tells you that. I feel like I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on first month on YouTube, what to expect, 6 months in, what to expect. But no one says anything about an LLC, a bank account, a credit card, all of the learning to do your own visual and audio.
There's a lot of behind the scene things that are going on that I don't think I knew there would be some things, but I don't think I knew how many things that there were going to be.
Yeah, I knew content creator was a full-time job, but
Yeah.
I was surprised with how many hats you have to wear.
Yeah.
And if this will all work out, knock on wood, but in a random world where it doesn't, I'm for sure putting audio and visual expertise, because in a month and a half, I feel like I've gotten so good in the sense of naturally curious about it. So I can't wait to see what my videos are like.
You also don't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
There's no one else that's going to do these things for you. So
That's
if you
true.
don't figure it out, then who else is going to do it if you don't? You know what I mean? So it's it's kind of like, what reminds me of grad school actually. It's it'll get done because it has to is the mantra, right? And that's, I feel like, very much what the last month has been like.
Yeah, and I feel like we've adopted a little bit, we tweaked that, because that was your PhD mentor's like a motto or mantra, and I really liked it. But I modified it a little bit to it'll get done because we want it to get done, and I think
That's a good
really
way to put it. Yeah.
So this is kind of more podcasty, free flow conversation, but I wanted to make sure we had some semblance of structure, so I kind of put it like a little cheat sheet. So I apologize if you hear any clicking. That's just me kind of going through, making sure we're relatively on track. Main things I want to talk about were the journey so far, challenges and lessons learned, and what the plan moving forward is. And then
big topics.
Yeah. And then it'll devolve, and that's fine.
Okay.
So the first question that I wrote down is what was the process, the back end process of setting up the business? I'm really curious to know your answer, because I have a background in banking, so an LLC, registering a company, getting up a bank account, all of that was kind of second nature to me. Mm-hmm. But this is your first business.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I don't know if I have a ton of insight into setting up that, because I think you did a lot of it, and I saw the hoops that you were going through. It seemed both there were certain aspects of it that were really complicated, and others that seemed to come easy to you. Mm-hmm. But there just seemed to be so many. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but so many hidden facets to setting it up and figuring out what kind of business do you want. Do you want an LLC? Do you want what was an S corp or something like that?
C corp, an S corp, a partnership.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of things out there to really sift through. It felt like, I don't know, what was the actual process of setting it up?
Yeah, so I had set up an LLC before, which is what we ended up doing.
Yeah.
I just think it just made the most sense for us. It would be really nice, or this is not advice, but from my understanding, an LLC is very nice because it helps keep things separated, so we can separate business expense versus personal expense. Mm-hmm. And I wanted everything separate, just so when it comes time for taxes, that there was no oh, what was this random electronic for? Because we do love to travel, and we do buy a lot of electronics, and I didn't want some wires to get crossed and
need one of those
mess
buttons.
it up. Yeah. So I set up an LLC, and then we opened up a checking account. We got a really nice promo code, so we were able to get a little bit of those funds back. And we opened up a credit card. Mm-hmm. And I was very glad we opened up a credit card right away, because the one that we went for has 0% for 12 months. So that really helps us in terms of upfront cost, which that's another thing we're going to talk about because that was very unexpected. But that helps us separate it to 12 months, which is really nice.
Yeah.
In terms of the banking aspect, pretty easy. Pretty like I felt very confident in that. In terms of like the government registering with California, and then like there were several new documents that when I previously set up an LLC didn't exist. So now there's like some federal documents started in 2024. Obviously, I had no idea about. So that was interesting to kind of see how it's evolved from when I was a banker helping people open up accounts to opening up my own several years later.
Yeah, and I would add to, like, I think part of the reason that we wanted to open up the business really was to, in a lot of ways, protect ourselves, right? Because we are treating this as an endeavor, so we want to make sure that we are covering ourselves to a degree, right? Yeah. And that's what the business helps with.
And we want to do it the right way too. Yeah. I think we really have a nice shot here.
Yeah, we've been very focused on trying to do things the right way, which may have something to do with the time it's taken us to get certain things done.
Yeah.
But Brian's mom always likes to say, "Lazy people work twice as hard," and I think that's a great saying because it's true. So if you're going to cut corners, you might get results that are commiserate with you cutting corners. So we are trying to make sure we don't do that.
Okay, fully agree. This part might get edited out. Do you want to not look at the camera? I notice that you're looking at the monitor a lot. It's probably because you see yourself. Do you want me to turn it away?
Oh, no, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I only bring that up because when we did that on one of our D&D sessions, I was doing the audio visual, the kind of in the background, so I needed to have the screen my way. And everybody else kept looking at my screen, like my editor's screen, because it also showed the map, instead of looking at the map right in front of them. So it's interesting when you see yourself being filmed.
It's also the movement, I think, catches my eye, and so I look over there.
Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about why we decided to choose to do this.
Social media generally, or...
I would say the YouTube channel. Let's just start there, and then we can always...
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the things that we are planning to put on our channel are things that we were already doing. So we were already traveling, we were already playing D&D, we already game. I use a lot of social media, and so it kind of felt like, okay, if we're already doing these things, why not make them accessible? Yeah. And I think that was kind of the impetus. It would also be nice if this was something that, does work out, because we would be able to do it full time and be spending time doing something we actually enjoy versus just something that gets you a paycheck at the end of the day.
True. And there's also such a big difference being your own boss. Like there is something empowering that I've learned within this month and a half of just if you don't do it, no one does it. And it just won't get done. Mm-hmm. But then if you do something, it's all for you, for us, for the business. And that's a really cool feeling too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you nailed it on the head. Things we were already going to do anyways. Let's go ahead and try to make this a side hustle. And then we want to flourish it into a career. Because I think how cool would it be to just kind of wake up with a not a boss down your neck, or no kind of deadlines to meet for some arbitrary goal for some other person, but you have your own schedule, you set it up to your liking, you get to enjoy and play things that you love. That's the goal here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, there's the common icebreaker, which is what would you do if you could do anything? I would literally play D&D probably most of the time. Yeah. That's a big nerdy thing to say, I get that. But it's the truth, right? Mm-hmm. And so if I can both be happy and do what I want to do and still make money, seems like a no-brainer to me. That's how I feel, at least. So
yeah. And now the journey so far, the biggest thing is how much money we spend.
Okay, so I think this is a complicated one because I think there's two sides to it, right? I think you can probably start up a YouTube without spending a ton of money, or any social media. You probably could, right? I think so much of it is kind of contingent on what you do and what resources you already have. Yeah. on our end, we had some pretty old computers that really could not handle anything. They couldn't even, well, we'll get to that in the blockers, but they couldn't do really anything.
Yeah.
And so our computers weren't good. And then because we wanted to do something like film our D&D sessions, you just need a lot of equipment that people just don't have on hand. So it's cost us a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
How much would you say we've probably spent so far?
Yeah, so I think I want to be pretty transparent about this process because I think that's what people want. And I know me as a viewer, I get frustrated when people get so vague about everything. So I do think I'm providing value, someone somewhere that's looking to do this for like the honesty.
Yeah.
New mics, new cameras, 2 new computers, upgrading our cell phones because the cameras weren't cutting it and our memory wasn't cutting it. Business registrations. I know I'm forgetting something. The table that we're like, there's like so many like
Oh yeah.
cute props that we want to design. So let's cut it off at those
Software,
7 things.
editing software.
Software, yes.
Everything's behind a paywall. Everything requires a license. There are a lot of free tools out there, but you have to work twice as hard and long in order to use the free tools versus just pay for the subscription or the monthly or whatever it is too. So there is a degree of convenience some of these things cost.
You know, that's not on here, but I think we should also break down like what things we're using because that'll probably be helpful.
Sure,
I have plenty of things to say about all that. Upfront cost for you're looking at all of the equipment, the software, and all these like random miscellaneous stuff. Business registration expense. We're about 10 grand in.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there. In a month.
In a month.
Now, granted, a lot of these things should last us a very long time. At least that's the hope.
Yeah.
But still,
That's a lot.
that's a lot of money to spend in your first month starting a new business.
I'm scared shitless.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'll reiterate that we got that credit card with 0% for a year.
So we have time.
So it helps me breathe just a little bit knowing that I don't have like this huge monthly expense coming right around the corner. But damn, it's a sticker shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
The no one again, it's like $10,000 to start a YouTube, you're out of your mind. And now all of a sudden, how did it all add up to that, you know?
And again, I mean, I will say this is probably particularly unique to the kind of channel that we have. You know, we do need a lot of equipment for D&D and streaming gaming and stuff like that. You have to have the tech that can actually do the thing that you want to do. If you're doing something that involves like going around and checking out this like the city you live in and highlighting it, then you could do that with the phone, and that probably is totally sufficient. So this isn't to say that you have to spend 10 grand in order to get a YouTube up. We're just telling you our experience in the first month.
Very true. What's our content strategy? So that was kind of like a why did you choose this direction, and it was like a / your content strategy. So I forgot that part, but you want to talk about what our content strategy is from the beginning and what we hope it like evolves into?
So I think originally we thought we would do more of a travel vlog kind of style channel because we do really love to travel and we do travel quite a bit. But we also wanted something that was sustainable, that we can do often, and we really wanted something that we enjoyed. And so kind of taking all of those factors together, that's why we ended up deciding to do the D&D portion of our channel. Because it's something we're already doing that we really enjoy, and we're able to do it with family, which is an added bonus. And gaming has a similar thing to that as well. It's something that we already enjoy doing, and so we're like, why not do that? Yeah. We are kind of, in a way, throwing kind of everything that we do at the wall. So we are considering our channel in a lot of ways to be like a lifestyle channel. Because you're basically just watching us do the things that we do in our lives. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right or wrong choice. We're only a month in. I guess time will tell. But that's kind of my perspective. I don't know. What do you think? What do you have?
Oh, I think you said it perfectly. I think the only thing I would add is that we're flexible in like if we notice that one thing does better than the other. If schedules get weird, like we're very adaptable, and we know that being rigid on our plan and our focus is not the right answer. We need to be able to adapt here.
Pivoting. You need to be able to pivot.
Yeah.
Insert friend scene here.
Pivot. Let's see. Challenges and lessons learned. Struggles, balancing content creation, editing, and streaming. And then what's been harder and easier than expected. So basically, this is like an all-around...
Challenges. What are the challenges that we've experienced? Well, everything. Everything has been a challenge.
Everything is a fucking roadblock. It got to the point where we looked at each other. We were like,
it was a cosmic joke at a certain point.
Yeah, we were legit. We're like, should we sage? Should we do something?
Get some Palo Santo. Do something. Yeah.
We're like, some kind of chakra is unaligned, but the amount of roadblocks we were hitting, I would say, the first week was. I would say in between week 2 to 4, there were just constant roadblocks. That was crazy.
And it was like one thing after the other, right? So we realized that our computer... so Brian started doing some edits on some of the videos that we had made. And on our old computer. And was able to do so, but then lost access to the program we were using because it was affiliated with TikTok, and so that was taken away for a while. So then he had to pivot to another program, started editing in that program, and then the computer couldn't actually export the file. It would spend like 2.5 hours trying, go up to 100% CPU, and then just fail outright. And so it just wouldn't... It was literally incapable of outputting the videos that we needed.
With no indication either.
Yeah.
Like, it would just... It allowed me to edit it, and that was the most frustrating part. Is I edited the entire video, got to the very end, and then it just was like, no, I just can't handle this. And it's like, oh, I wish there was some kind of factor that before told you, like, oh, your computer might not be strong enough for this.
Yeah, some kind of like even like a lot of systems do this. Like even what we use to record, OBS does that. Mm-hmm. It looks at the specs of your computer, tells you how to optimize for what you want. So it's like, yeah, you can record, you just can't actually export it. So it's like, okay,
kind of defeats the purpose here.
It kind of defeats the purpose. We struggled. I think we've gone through a couple different editing platforms, right? Some requiring licensing and so that's been a hassle. Obviously, all the tech stuff.
Yeah, all the tech stuff, and I want to keep this a little bit vague because I don't know where this will stand in the moment of like when it's released. But we used a program that had a monthly subscription fee. That program was no longer available to us, and so what I decided to do was look up an alternative because we got to pivot, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. So the software that I used is DaVinci Resolve, which has like phenomenal reviews, but it is like well documented that it is the hardest fucking thing to master. Like this is like throwing I don't even know the metaphor. Like going to a couple of swim lessons and then doing a marathon in the ocean or one of those triathlons in the ocean. Mm-hmm. It's like I am starting from zero, and that was such a huge shift because the original program was very user-friendly, and DaVinci Resolve, for all of its power, is not. It just gives you everything and no instructions.
Yeah, it's a professional program, so I mean, people use this for a high caliber output, which again is great.
It's great, yeah.
Except when you're learning how to do it.
Yeah, when I master it, it'll be phenomenal.
Yeah,
when I master it.
Exactly. When, yes. When, not if, for sure.
Yeah.
What are some other issues that we've run into?
I
think those are the big ones, for sure. I love it. A lot of it has also had to do with, like, how it's affected timelines, too, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, one of the huge struggles was video audio. Like, OBS. Did you know how to use OBS before this?
No, I had to learn. I didn't even know what OBS was before.
Yeah. So that's the program that we use to record everything. And so we started off with these like tiny little mics.
Lapel mics.
And damn, you can tell the first 2 episodes of the
D&D.
Of the D&D that we've already recorded. The audio was shit. But you don't know what you don't know. And I think my method is just start and figure it out along the way. Don't wait for every green light to start your road trip.
Because you'll never start. You really won't ever start if if you wait that long. If you wait until every star aligns along the pathway, then you'll just never go anywhere. And so I think for me, one of the early lessons here is like perseverance is so key.
Yeah.
Like you just have to like push through the bullshit basically to get to where, you know, you wanna be.
Yeah. And it's also okay to release things that in your mind you want them to be this polished, gleaming, shining star, but in reality it looks like coal.
Yeah.
But at least you're doing something.
But you may have learned something in that process of mining the coal. And so
Yeah.
maybe in the future there'll be diamonds.
Yeah. Also, we use a lot of metaphors.
Oh yeah, super big in metaphors. Storyteller, sorry.
Any other the technology for the D&D group, that was a struggle, learning to placements of mics. We've upgraded our mics. We haven't upgraded our camera yet. This is our main camera right now. It seems to be working just fine.
Eventually we'll upgrade.
Maybe
sure.
we'll, yeah. I'm hope. I think one of my goals is to make a penny. I think if I make a penny at some point this year, I will feel like I'm at least going in the right direction.
Right.
And something that I'd like to start with is like a nicer camera. But that can always be later.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that for us is super important is that we're also doing this for us, not just for the content, if that makes sense. So in our minds, like the content we're creating, these are things that we can look at, you know, years later. It's like a digital scrapbook in a lot of ways. And so because we're doing something that we like for us as well as for the content, I think that makes a difference too. Like it makes us want to push through any of these blockers that we hit.
Having it be a passion, it definitely always helps.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is talking about like the plan moving forward. So the plan moving forward being how do you plan to improve content? What's the content you want to focus on? Any changes that you've already made to your strategy? And then what can they expect from us next?
Well, I would say this kind of relates to both this topic and maybe some of the struggles. Is one of the things that we are having a hard time with is physical space. Yeah. Like having a space to do things like play D&D, like game, even this podcast kind of style conversation, you know, finding the space to do something like this, it has been difficult because if you can get everything set up and it just stays there, it's so much easier to do that on a consistent basis and be regular with your broadcast and your streaming and your releases and all these things. So
like what a dream it would be to have like a little, not a warehouse, but like just a little, like a casita somewhere where like the casita is our podcast setup or our like interview setup, and then we have our D&D setup, then we have like our husband's play setup, like that. What a nice little dream that would be. Yeah.
And so we're trying to right now get this space together that we can at least regularly use for D&D, and then also trying to set up how we're going to do our streaming setup moving forward. And so once we have those kinds of things locked in, you can expect a lot more regular content, I think, on this channel.
Yeah. We have made progress. We do have some videos lined up. They are ready. I've been able to edit. I have about like 3 episodes, 2 shorts, and 1 travel vlog. So all of those are at the ready. We just need to make sure we have a sustainable timeline and having the next one be ready after that. Because my fear is launching all these videos and then not having anything on the back end where we're like, oh, well, now there's going to go like a week or a month without another video.
Yeah, we're also planning, I think, to release things more as we do them. It's just we took all of these videos without the ability to edit and export said videos, and so we have a bit of a kind of pile up on us right now at the moment that we're trying to like work through the content we have before we make a ton of new content. So part of it's kind of digging ourselves out, I think. But eventually I think where we're at is once we do that, once we are able to dig ourselves out, we're hoping that we can have more scheduled, like on a certain cadence. We're hoping that D&D's episodes will release on, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, something like that. That we're going to be doing our streaming consistently on Thursday evenings on Twitch, which will also be on YouTube as well. So,
and then the sporadic travel vlog to kind of get a behind the sense of like who we are. So again, our 3 pillars are D&D. So I'm really excited to. In theory, none of this will be out, so I kind of just want to say it now. Like, in theory, I'm excited to announce we have a D&D group with our family. That section is going to be called 4Gen Adventures. I'm very proud of that. It's such a unique process. It's such a unique scenario where you have 4 generations all coming together to play D&D together. And you have we have Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. And it's a really cool experience. We have experience levels of all types. We have some veterans, and then we have some new players. And we also have kids. That's such a unique thing. Like, our niece is 12, and she's kind of and she's the one that's super excited to play. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see a 12-year-old's perspective on D&D, a 17-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, or 50-year-old. Like, it's super cool, you know? The next thing we have, happy to announce, we're going to do something called Husbands Play. That's going to be our main streaming, just Ryan and I. That'll be on Twitch and on YouTube. And we're going to pick an MMORPG, which is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. Think World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls, that kind of style. And then we're going to be playing together. Mm-hmm. And that'll just be us. And I think we're going to do like an episodic series where you kind of join our adventure as we go through a game. Maybe once or twice a week, and then that second time we play something else.
Maybe we'll take requests. Yeah, I have a very low scare tolerance, so I suspect there's going to be a lot of Resident Evil.
Yeah, you read my mind. Yep.
What's that hide and seek game that
Last of Us? No, Dawn. Oh, that one that our friend really enjoys playing.
Yeah, it's like you're playing hide and seek on a spaceship or something, but there's
the Among Us.
Among Us.
No, I'm talking about the one with all the killers and the survivors.
Oh, that one's even scarier. Yeah,
whatever that one's called. Yeah.
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Someone fact check us. I think it's what it's called. And then our travel vlogs. We have those sporadically coming in and out. Mm-hmm. We do really enjoy doing a lot of traveling. It's one of our biggest passions, and I think that'll allow a spontaneous, get a look behind the scenes of what Ryan and Brian are doing.
You'll get a glimpse of us where we're not pretending to be other characters.
Yeah, that's true. And that's it. What else do you think? I think that's such a really cool, concise way of talking about our first month experience.
Yeah, it's only been a month, so... we have learned a lot. I think we have a lot left to learn. We have a lot of planned content coming out. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, you check that content out and you like it. Mm-hmm. And if not, no worries.
Yeah. And that's it. Where are we at in terms of time? Does that say time?
I don't think so.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much for watching it all the way to the end. Your support really means a lot to us because I think we're going to give you a really cool perspective of what we're dealing through, and you kind of get to join. Not you kind of get to. We're going to take you along this journey. I don't know about every month, but I definitely want to do it at least every quarter because I think this would be so helpful, not only to anyone that's looking to make a YouTube video, but for us. In a year from now, going back and watching this video of these were our hopes. Look at what we've done. Look how far we've come. I think that'll be so cool.
Yeah, and if you enjoy the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Or if you're a content creator yourself and you have ideas on things that we could be doing, feel free to drop that advice in the comments because we are learning too. We are by no means experts, and so we're trying to figure things out just like everybody else.
Yeah. So once again, thank you. I've been Brian.
I'm Ryan.
I have brown hair.
I have red hair.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.